Hello, everyone. It's me, Demetra, the Demetra K Show and the podcast. And I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq. And on the Demetra K Show, we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can be greater. And so today we're going to have a discussion about Black manhood, if you will, malehood, however you want to say it. But we are going to preface it with talking about that of Kanye West and the situation that he is going through publicly, might I add. And so before I get into the details about that, Donovan, what say you?
Hey, what say me is welcome to the Demetra K podcast, you guys. It is great that you guys are listening with us. If you're sitting in traffic, in the rain, or whatever, you got about an hour before you even get to your house. Hey, do us a favor, like, share, subscribe, and actually put this on your social media pages and get this information out, because we have recently discovered there is a lot of ignorant Negroes out there in these streets, and they need this knowledge. So please like, share, and subscribe, and even become a member if you get a chance. So this is a really great topic. I think, I hope I could lend some of my knowledge to this conversation.
Yes, brother, because we're actually going to need your expertise, because I can't tell men how to be men, and I can only talk about what I would like to see from a man from a woman's point of view, but I can't really, give the blueprint like you can, because you got
goddamn right you can't.
Right, there you go. Okay, all right.
Right.
So anyway, as I was saying, as you guys I'm sure you're aware to some degree, Kanye West has been putting his and Kim Kardashian's, I guess, demise of their relationship on display as of lately, within the last couple of weeks, I would say. And so they have Kim filed for divorce last year, so a year ago to this point last year, for whatever reason. You guys know Kanye has had some sort of mental issues. Not to say that in jest, I'm just giving, a background to what it is. And so throughout that time, Kim started dating Pete Davidson. And Kanye has dated a few other people, including that of Julia Fox. I only started hearing about her when he started she started messing with Kanye, but it sounds like as of today, they're not together anymore. So I guess it was like a 2-month relationship. And he's been with other women in the process of Kim and his divorce. Okay. And so he's made a lot of public posts saying that he's not allowed to get the kids, and he wasn't allowed to go to the birthday parties and this, that, and the other. And how he wants Kim back. And it sounds like even on Valentine's Day, he sent a truck full of black roses that kind of look weird. I don't know if that's what they're into. And so, and making a lot of public posts about her boyfriend, Pete Davidson, saying he doesn't want him around the kids, and just kind of like low-key threats and things like that. And so one of the last things that was posted was this. Well, so he posted this, and I'll put this up. So this is actually a text from Kim Kardashian to him. And she says, "You're creating a dangerous and scary environment, and someone will hurt Pete." So Pete is her, boyfriend now, Pete Davidson of SNL. So it says, someone will hurt Pete, and this will be all your fault. And so he posted on his Instagram, which is now deleted, and says, "Upon my wife's request, please nobody do anything physical to Skeet instead of Pete." You guys know what Skeet is, and it's pretty gross. I'm going to handle the situation myself. Okay. And so I'm going to put this other thing up here. So then he goes on to put, okay, hold on a second. So he goes on to share this. So again, so this is what he's, the picture.
Isn't that the caption we used to use on our show in the early days? We were like, "I'm putting all this knowledge, and you still remember?"
Yeah, out there corner.
Yeah.
So again, he says, "Upon my wife's request, please nobody do anything physical to Skeet. I'm going to handle the situation myself." And so there's been a lot of outcry from women and a lot of men. I actually saw Sean King post it. And, he basically says that this is dangerous, which it is dangerous, because And it's dangerous and it's stalking at this point. Now, you guys know that I like Kanye, but I think we should be honest in saying this is a lot over the line. I'm riding for him in order to be with his kids and, all that other stuff. But this is stalking. And, Kanye on Instagram alone has almost 14 million followers. And so I would say at least one of those people on there might not be playing with a full deck and go do something to try to harm Pete or even Kim, because they feel like they're victimizing Kanye. Because you know how fanatics are, fanatics, sometimes they go out of their way to vindicate the person that they are, in love with per se. And so we're going to have a conversation here about teaching men, and specifically our men and boys, black men and boys, how to cope with situations that are not favorable to them. And we all have been rejected at one point in time. And no, it does not feel good. But, I don't know all the inner workings of Kim and Kanye's relationship. But it's the tale that is old as time, if you will. You never miss your water till your well runs dry. Absolutely. And this is kind of what it sounds like with Kim and Kanye. I don't know, maybe he didn't really appreciate her. I don't know what happened. But now he's putting on this public display of wanting her back, and she's still my wife. I want the kids and us to get back together. Of course, you guys know he moved across the street from her. And so Donovan is going to give us, some pointers on how young men and, boys, I guess, and men of all ages can cope better so that they don't end up in trouble. Because at the end of the day, Kanye, if he keeps on, it's going to get in trouble. I don't care how much money you got.
It's going to get ugly real fast.
Yeah. So Donovan, what you got?
Okay. First of all, thank you guys for listening and tuning in and stuff. We really appreciate that. But I have a question, because you said something in a couple of shows we did back. And if you guys get a chance, go back and check out that show that we did. You made a comment about women staying on code. Men, we need to stay on code. Now, I'm preferencing this to Pete Davidson. This is still a legally married woman. Why in the hell would you want to get involved with a woman that is still legally married? And I know, they broke up. The point is, we're talking about the law. We're talking about the law here. Now, in some states, and I'm not an expert on this and I can't really do it, there's a thing called heat of passion, or whatever you call it.
Crime of passion.
The crime of passion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a guy or a woman could find their spouse in a compromising position and temporary insanity ensues and they kill the other person, all the stuff like that. And in some states, I think Texas still has it on the books, I believe. Don't quote me, but but we've heard of that term, right? So why in the hell would Pete Davidson put him in a situation with a married person? If you are going to get involved with this woman, why don't you wait until she gets divorced? Or at least they're legally separated. And even if they're legally separated, she's still married. So when we talk about getting on code, that's what we're talking about. Men and women both need to get on code and respect the sanctity of marriage. Because we wouldn't be talking about this right now if that was the case. Kim, what are you doing dating and you are still legally married with another man's children?
And some would probably say, well, the same is true for him because he's still married and he's dating,
absolutely. But again, that's my point. Both sides, we have taken the institute of marriage as if it means nothing more than dating. That was a sacred thing, and that's on both sides, men and women. So I'm going to say this. If you are in a married relationship, legally married by the statutes of the state that you come from, this is a bad situation because, let's just hypothetical. Let's say in California, there's the crime of passion law, and I'm married to Kim, and I might have mental issues as alleged with Kanye. I could go and kill that man and get away with it. Not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just saying hypothetically. So we got to think about stuff like that. So on both sides. So speaking of Kanye.
Well, let's stop right there at that point just for a second. Okay. Because I don't think a lot of people really have examined what you just said in that. Mm-hmm. I know for me, I'm just going to put myself in that situation.
Okay.
If I was dating a guy, and let's say his wife was as, let's say, volatile in a way as Kanye is raw with his emotions, I wouldn't want to be in that situation. I'm like, listen, baby,
Exactly.
you got it going on and all of that. However, I'm not really for sure what kind of fool you was dealing with. And so until you get all that handled, I'm going to just leave, because obviously I am the static that, whatever, and I'm grinding his gears, and I don't want to create a unsafe environment for you and the kids. So let me just take a step back. That's what I would do.
Exactly. So, and that's where I was going with that. We need to start respecting the institution of marriage for those of us that get into marriage, because now like I said, you hit it right on the nail right there. Now, in regards to Kanye, this is a woman you lusted after for a couple of years before y'all got together, right? Didn't he have a song about that or whatever?
Yeah, he said he's always wanted to be with her. Okay.
You got her. You had children with her. Okay. I don't know the dynamics of your relationship. And a lot of people, especially men, keep people out of your business, your personal business when it comes to your wife or we're talking marriage here. So your wife, I'm not going to tell my wife had a sex tape. And that's something Kanye's got to realize too. He's got to own up to that. His wife is out there like that. And so that might come up in conversations, but that's what he signed up for. So he's got to take responsibility for that. But I digress. He has 4 children or 3 children.
4, I think.
4 children with this woman. This is who he chose. They've been married for 8-9 years. And now, for some reason, they have split up and they're going through divorce proceedings. Brother, and if Kanye, if you're hearing me, and any other brother that is in this situation hears me, I happen to have watched some of the implosion that was going on in the relationship. And this woman tried to work with him. She tried to work with him, get him help. He didn't want to do it. I'm going to move to Wyoming. I'm going to do this. Fellas, if you really love a woman and you love the family that you say you love, why does it have to get to all of this before you realize, I want them back and I'm going to treat them better and I'm going to do that? You should be doing that from day one. Because there's an old saying, it's cheaper to keep her. And
you don't know what you got until it's gone.
Gone, exactly. And so this woman, and I'm not taking up for Kim, I'm just saying the facts. This woman was on interviews and on shows, praying for Kanye, flying out to see him, asking him to get better. And he, maybe he was, because his mom died or whatever, all these little things were happening. But the point is, there's consequences for your actions within that relationship. You can't just keep beating on this woman, beating on her physically or mentally, depending what the situation is, and expect the woman to stay. Pretty soon, a dog, you keep kicking a dog, it's going to bite. Yep. And now you want to get back because she has moved on in her relationship. You moved across the street. I mean, this is very disturbing stuff. And so, fellas, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that bad chick that you always wanted, remember this. There's always a younger, stronger, and badder chick coming up behind. Remember everybody's like, Mike Tyson, he can never be beat. That was never true. There's always going to be somebody younger, stronger, better that's going to come along. So when you do settle for the Kim Kardashian and you got the girl of your dreams, stick with it. God dang it.
Well, I'm going to give y'all 2 stories, but I will tell the first one now, then I'll tell the other one as we progress. So, as for myself, I don't even know if I was 30 yet. So I wasn't even 30 yet. But I was in a relationship with a guy. And, for whatever reason it ended. It wasn't terribly good to me. I had a drinking problem and, low-key kind of abusive and stuff. So I finally just broke up with him, right? Moved on. And so he would come over to the house because we were living together, but, he moved out and stuff. But he realized that he wanted to try to get back with me, but I was like, nah, I'm good. So one day I got off from work and he called me. He says, I want to come over and get my mail or whatever. I said, I don't think you have anything here. So he said, but I'm just going to come over and check anyway. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So as I'm getting out of the car, I see him pull up. And he's walking behind me, and I'm like, I don't think you have any mail. I'm just being real cool about it. No need for alarm or anything like that. Sure. So I walk into the house, and he walks behind me. As I turn the door, I walk in the house. He walks behind me. He grabs me, and he throws me onto the couch, and of course he's trying to assault me. So he's trying to put hickeys on my neck, and I'm screaming.
Real quick, let me cut you off. Was he previously aware that your dad was FOI?
Yes. So what happened was, I somehow said, my brother's getting ready to come over. He was supposed to be meeting me here. And, so that made him stop. And then he got up because he had this look on his face. It was just creepy once he really thought about it. And so he took off. So I called my daddy, called my dad and told him what happened. He says, give me his mama's number.
Right.
Everybody's number that you can think of. So he called him. He didn't. And so first he called him and didn't answer. He called me back. Says, give me his mama's number, his daddy, his sister, whoever. I need all their numbers. So he called every last one of them and said, I just tried to call your son. And he retold them what I told him. Said, if you love your son, he better call me within 20 minutes or I'm bringing everything I got down there to find him, and you won't find him anymore. So they found him, and he called my dad, and he says, listen, I don't know what your situation is, but if my daughter ever called me and tell me you did anything to her, he said, I promise you to be the last thing you do. But he says this, she ain't all of that. Says she not all of that. If she love you, then I love you. But if she don't want you no more, then I don't want you no more. He says, go find you somebody who wants to be with you. He says, but you cannot make her be with you. But he says, get yourself together. And I'll tell you the other reason why, the other part of the story as we continue. But that's really, it's a lack of coping skills. It's almost like being a spoiled brat. Well, I can't have her, so I'm going to make her be with me, or I'm going to take it if she won't willingly give it to me. Not even just it per se, but just force a relationship on somebody who has tried to work with you.
Right. Do you know what you're just now describing? The new age pimp. These gangster pimps, that's what they do. They go out there and they guerrilla pimp on these girls and say, well, they use violence more so than the actual pimping game. And I'm not trying to up, that type of lifestyle. But what I'm saying is you're seeing that a lot where these guys are not taking no for an answer.
There's, to me, and we're talking about men today because we talked about women last week. So I don't want y'all to think we're beating up on men.
Yeah.
Donovan and I like to try to be even-handed with the discussion. I just really think it's a lack of coping skills being taught. I mean, how many people, especially, I don't know about especially today, but are rarely told no. And I kind of think that's the case with Kanye. And my brother used to be his financial advisor, and he says that his mom kind of had the same issue. He just would not listen and, kind of out there doing his own thing. And so I just think a lot of people, let's just keep it with men, are not taught coping skills. No means no. And that's how you have this, whole rape culture thing too, is regardless of, I don't care if you're laying down in bed with her, y'all both naked, if she say no, it sucks, or doesn't suck at the moment, but no means no.
Right, exactly.
You don't get to do anything else past the no. And so we need to talk about what are coping skills and how do we teach that? Right.
And again, this goes back to the nonsense that women have, these young modern women have, in regards to they can raise a man. They cannot raise a man. It doesn't work that way. I mean, you can do the best you can, but at the end of the day, only a man to teach a man what he needs to know. My mom told me, and it wasn't from a man's perspective. She was telling me from a female's perspective. I remember when a woman says no, it's no, period. Even if you're in mid-stroke, excuse my language, but it's no. You stop from that point and you go on. But we have a bunch of young men, modern men, that have been raised by, in single family homes. I'm not going to say female single family, because I'm going to say single family homes. You guys figure it out. That are raised in a culture of that's my king, this, that. And it really disassociates these dudes from reality, because they actually believe they're entitled to certain things because they're just there. And you see it in relationships. How many of these young men, which is what I've heard the term hobosexuals, are out there moving in with women? When we were coming up, that wasn't happening. You're moving in with me. because that is what a man is supposed to do. You move in with me. I don't move in with you. So yeah, coping skills, non-existent.
Right. And so, for those of you guys who may not know, coping skills are really just methods of dealing with stressful situations. Now, it is stressful. Have you guys ever, and I'm sure you have, right, seen a little child and you tell it no? Because it hasn't been really taught coping skills yet, right? You tell it no, and you take something from the child and they go bananas, right?
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm going to cut you off. Keep your thought. Don't you have a nephew, a great nephew?
Oh, you saw him?
Yes, fell on the floor.
Titus, yeah.
Titus, yes.
But he's a baby,
Yeah, he's a baby, right.
But that doesn't mean that he can't learn coping skills,
Exactly.
But so coping skills are methods of learning how to deal in stressful situations. And so the stress comes in because you just don't know how to handle the stress. And in a lot of cases, a lot of people don't know how to handle rejection. How many times have we seen stories of men doing things to women because she simply told them no? She didn't say, get your blah, 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 blah. She just said, no, thank you. And she got cut up on her face or bit or,
acid thrown in her face or something.
Because she said no, because you didn't know how to not take that personally. Like, this is not about, listen, she don't know you enough to even be able to do a deep dive analysis into, I'm going to tell you no because you this and you. I just said no, I'm not interested, right? And so there are several ways you could, learn coping skills. But the main thing to do, to me, this is my opinion, is acceptance.
I refuse to accept the fact that your sister will not be with me and all that other stuff. It's been 30 years. I'll wait another 30 years.
Well, but it's really about acceptance. Okay. Acceptance doesn't always mean that you like it.
Right.
And I think people get that messed up. People think I have to like it in order to accept it. No, you don't. Okay, like my mom has passed away. I don't like it. My mom has been gone to be 6 years this year. I don't like it. I will never, ever like that she is not here anymore. Mm-hmm. But in order for me to be a healthy human being, I have to accept that she's not here anymore. And so I figure out ways to cope with that. Whether it's praying or talking to somebody or, just whatever I need to do. But first you have to accept what it is and that it ain't going to be what you want it to be. Learn how to do that first and then implement all the other things you need to do to help making the acceptance process easier.
Absolutely. And that's a good thing. So how do we go about doing that? I mean, where do we get those coping skills from if we didn't learn it in the home, especially as men? Where do we get that?
Well, I see, and this is the problem I think we have too, and just as adults, not just men. You have a lot of grown people running around the planet who just refuse to grow up. And so growing up, you will find coping skills in growing up, right? That's like we talked about last week. Somebody, a grown child, comes home and they live with you, whatever. Hey, I'm having a baby. All right.
Right.
Now you're going to learn some coping skills, brother. Because you out there like an alley cat making babies. Right. Now you got to go out there and make it do what it do. You figure it out.
The consequences for being an alley cat.
Yes.
Right.
But it's to me when it's in coping, learning coping skills is also part of the evolution process, right? Mm-hmm. Again, I think for one, if you're not taught that, you just have to know. Because see, to me, it's a thing of morals, right? Ethics. Mm-hmm. If it's right, great. If it's wrong, bad. Is it right to stalk somebody who does not want to be with you? That's not right. So you accept that and you just learn how to deal with it. She don't want to be with me. I'm going to boo-hoo my eyes out, but I'm going to, like for me, y'all know my situation. I went to therapy. I've been to therapy years ago, but I had to do that to really just be healthy again because I was having a hard time accepting it. But once I learned some other tools and skills and stuff, then it was easier for me. And the one thing, as I say this too, Stop taking everything personally. I don't care if a person says, I don't want to be with you because you're a horrible person. Mm-hmm. Don't internalize that, because when you internalize that, then other things start to grow and to fester.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, okay, while that hurts that she or he said that to me, I'm not going to take that personally. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go do my work, and I'm just going to accept that person does not want to be with me. If they want to be with me, great. But in the meantime, I'm going to go work on myself, because anybody who's ever been through a breakup, you feel like it's the end of the world. Oh, there'll never be anybody else for me. Oh, I don't know how I'm going without you.
Not me. I got what I want. Beat it.
You start playing stupid. Start playing all the Shirley Murdoch songs and all that other stuff. But then once you really just start understanding more about yourself, you're like, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's what I noticed here when I first came to America, and I still see it a lot today. And there's certain situations you're supposed to operate in gray. I could see, this happened, so the person had to go do that. I understand that. But what I've noticed in America, and especially in the Black community, is everything is operated in gray. Everything. Okay? So what I mean by that is, he comes from a bad environment. His father wasn't in the home, so that's why he's out there selling drugs. No. It's either you're right or you're wrong. Everybody knows the drug game, okay, and where it leads to, especially under this Biden administration, right? We know where the drug game leads, but you still have young people, and do what you got to do to survive. I'm not telling you how to live your life. What I'm saying is, the consequences, but then they get popped based on the decision that they made, and now it's everybody else's fault. It's everybody else's fault. Why? I come from the hood. We all come from the hood. I didn't have any money. We all don't have any money within our community as a whole. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big problem with a lot of these young Black men. They don't have any accountability, is because they've been raised to worry about gray.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And so I think what people do is they blur the lines between the law and ethics. Ethics is right and wrong, good or bad, but your good and bad may be different from my good and bad, but the law is the law. Right. And so people, they conflate the two when they shouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. One, the law, you can get in trouble for it, and morally it's a conscious thing, for the most part. Mm-hmm. But, you know what you should and should not be doing.
Right.
And like you said, there is no gray area, that threatening people is wrong. Like I just feel like I just needed to say that to them, and what's going to happen is, because you made a gray area, which is the law and ethics, you might end up going to jail, because you can't just stalk and threaten people.
And it's on both sides. And it's on both sides. Nobody should be putting hands on nobody, but you're finding in these younger generations, male and female, where the women have no problem putting hands on men and vice versa, and binary relationships are doing the same thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's wrong. But then if you're going to put your hands on a man and you don't expect him to defend himself, how does that work?
Yeah. So I just think
where's the self-control?
Yeah, and that's the thing. The lack of coping, mm-hmm. Then there comes a lack of self-control. I don't want to accept it. I don't know how to deal with it. So then I'll do things that are adverse to everybody, mm-hmm. by putting my hands on somebody, or, that's just like, for example, being cheated on and finding out that you're being cheated on is a horrible thing. It's horrible. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people be wanting to put hands on people. Right. When they find that they've been cheated on, it's like, mm-hmm. you want to just boop, boop, boop. But then you have to say to yourself, okay, even if you catch them in your bed with somebody, now naturally you be wanting to, take somebody up out of here. But the other thing is that, while I could pounce and do a lot of damage up in here, it takes a lot of self-control to say, you know what? If that's what they're doing, they not for me.
Right. I'm glad I found out.
Feelings, and my clothes or whatever I need to do to alleviate myself from being around that person. But it takes control. And I always say this, before you do something that may harm you, ask yourself, what is it going to cost me? Even if I'm in the right, what is it going to cost me if I strike out and hit somebody, or I say something to somebody? Is it going to cost me a friendship, a relationship, some money, a job? What is it going to cost me? And a lot of times you have to be that quick, because you don't get, like I said, if you walk into your house and you see your lover or your spouse in bed with somebody else, you got to be quick on your feet. I want to snatch all the hair out of their bodies. But what's it gonna cost me?
Right. In regards to relationships, and we have to talk about these men. Like in Kanye's situation, you got the girl of your dreams. You got the girl that you wrote a song about. And I don't know if you mistreated whatever. The relationship broke down. Men, we have to do a better job of sustaining our families. I know a lot of women don't like Kevin Samuels, but if you look at the root of what Kevin Samuels is talking about, he's talking about Black families staying together, making babies, and doing all these things. Fellas, you guys got to grow up. There are bad chicks out there, but when you got a good woman with you, you need to recognize that. And I think one of the problems is a lot of these new modern young men, they don't know a good woman when they see it, because they're looking, men are visual, and that's all they are looking at, because maybe they see their sister acting like that, or they see their mom acting like that and doing all these things. But we need to make a good decision, because I have a lot of partners that have been married for a lot of years, and they're with the same woman, they had their little run and stuff that, and they've been with the woman, married her, and had beautiful kids, and they're doing great things for themselves. But then I also have those partners that are still out there in the wilderness, wreaking havoc, complaining about child support, stuff that is self-inflicted. Now, as for myself, you guys have heard my story several times. I've been married several times. I have two children by two different women. But I made a conscious decision. If I wanted to live a certain lifestyle, I need to stop doing this and I need to stop doing that. I have some friends on my Facebook page, Dimitri, and you've seen them. These young girls are bad. I'm talking about everything, if I was 30 years younger, Target acquired, right? But I actually realized I'm 52 years old and I don't want the nonsense. I don't want, those things, coming back, because it takes a lot of work. And I'm not going to waste her time. But you got brothers, you got a good woman, and in the military, it happened in the military. The base blows up because of the volcano. You had guys that had whole families over there that the wives here did not have, and it destroyed the family here as well as destroying the family over there. So you ended up with nothing. So brothers, we got to grow up. We have to grow up in our mentality. You got a good woman. You need to recognize you have a good woman, because think about it. This woman came to the table with what? $1 billion base salary?
Well, no, she just acquired that not too long ago, but she has some money.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
And not only that, remember Kanye was bankrupt damn near, and she gave him the money. Yeah, and now he's, $3 to $6 billion.
Exactly. So why wasn't that in your decision in regards to, man, I got a woman that props me up, that brings something to the table? Ladies, the table means relationship, okay? It's not a real table.
You mean it's not, bringing something to the table is not booty?
Yeah. It's the relationship, not the booty. She's a gorgeous woman. She's everything you wanted. And yet she's asking you to get help to keep the family together. And for whatever reasons, you refuse to listen to your spouse. Sad.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. People really do mess up good relationships with good people. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what you say. People do it because they believe the grass is greener on the other side.
Always.
And y'all remember Fantasia? She got sued by the other woman for alienation of affection. Mm-hmm. I don't know if she won or not, but nevertheless, the lady sued her.
Yeah, I think the woman did, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, she alienation of affection because she, was messing with a married man and all of that. And on the surface, it sounds kind of silly, but I mean, I get it from the woman's point of view, but it's like, but your man was weak though. You know, he allowed another woman to come into his life to alienate how he felt about you. And it's just weakness is what it is, you know. And I would say a lot of people, not just men and women, they allow somebody to stroke their ego. Ooh, you're so cute. Ooh, he. Ooh, hoo, hoo. And then
puppy.
yeah, that's you, right? They allow that to happen, and then their nose is wide open, going over somewhere else, and then by the time you realize it, you done messed up what you had at home over fantasies, And I always tell people this, especially when I hear about people cheating and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like, tell them that in 6 months, the new boo that they creeping with gonna be just like the wife, because after the fun
and that's the bag, they've got the man.
Yeah, all that wear off, and it's like you're gonna be right in the same situation with your wife. You got to pay some bills. You're gonna have to get serious. You ain't gonna want to do it every night either. Then
right. And think about this, fellas. You just left this wife for the new wife or whatever you're doing, but you still have minor children with that other woman. So that means money's going to be coming out of your house over there, and you're going to be that dude complaining about child support and this, all the foolishness that
for some coochie,
right? That you already had, and it was in-house, coochie
for some coochie. Now I'm trying to be clean, but that's really what it boils down to. Yeah, I get it. Some people say, well, I just get peace over there. All right, buddy, wait 6 months when she started imposing some demands on you, because now in the honeymoon period, she ain't really putting no demands on you because you blowing her back out every night.
Right, she's putting her best foot forward.
Yes, you blowing her back out every night, but then that wear off is like, okay, that was fun, but you over here every night. Yeah. I'm going to need you to pick up some of these bills. And then, like you said, now you paying for 2 households because of some coochie.
Right. It's supposed to be child support when it actually turns into host support.
Yeah, and then you talk, like you said, and you want to whine about, I don't have
the system and all this other stuff. And then you got to think about this, too. I was watching this last night. It was on YouTube. There was a girl, and they were showing us how to put on those lace fronts and stuff, and she combed her hair down, whatever. They were just, they was just showing you, like, this girl was explaining how much time she puts in front of a mirror to get her hair a certain way, whatever, right? She goes back every 2 weeks and does again. So you get this younger girl who has that mentality. Now, how much does it cost to do her hair? It's like $300, the bundles and all that stuff. And she's doing that not for you, because the truth is, when women are dressing a certain way and putting the weave in, that isn't for you, fellas. That is not for you. It's to compete with other women. That's the truth. They do it to compete with the other women. That's why you see these girls going to get BBLs. Oh, I could look better than her if I had a BBL. I'm going to go get a BBL so I could compete. But they keep forgetting, where's the man? Where's the man? But fellas, how much is it going to cost you to maintain that lifestyle? Because now that girl is used to that lifestyle of $400 a month on her hair. Think about that stuff.
Yeah, but like I said, the grass is always greener.
Always.
On the other, they think the grass is greener on the other side, but as I told somebody not too long ago, but it really be bullshit over there, And so, and so the other part of that story that I was telling, and so my father told my ex-boyfriend at that point, if she don't want you, I don't want you. And then he told him the story of, I have a cousin that's doing double life sentence with no possibility of parole because he unfortunately murdered his 2 children. He drowned them in a tub of water. They were 3 and 5, I believe it was 3 and 5. Drowned them in a tub of water because his wife wouldn't come back to him because he was physically abusive to her. Now, we didn't know any of that, but he was physically abusive to her. And she said, I don't want this relationship. So, it was his time to visit the kids. He calls her and says, he has the kids. Are you going to come back to me? When are you going to basically come back so we can be a family and all of that? And she says, I'm not thinking anything
to the kids. Right.
Yeah. So it was time for her to pick them up. And she's calling and calling, no answer. So she calls his mother, says, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of him because the kids, I need to get to work tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. They couldn't reach him. So my other cousin gets a phone call. It was from the police station, I want to say it was. Or somebody called her and says, we found him. He's at the police station. And they told her what he did. And so he actually took the kids and threw their bodies, in the garbage can.
Was that a Tyler Perry movie as well? I forgot the name of the movie where they kind of alleged that. Was that For Colored Girls? Is that the movie?
Yeah, that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, like that. Yeah,
he was out the window or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that.
But so my father told him that story. You know what the weirdest thing is? I was at work one day. We call him a different name, my cousin, and I saw it on the news. But I was so far away, I couldn't really see what was going on. And I'm glad that I didn't because it would have freaked me out. And I found out later. But the point that he was making is don't drive yourself to do something like that, because he said that about my cousin. Had he had a different set of coping skills, he wouldn't have been. We probably wouldn't have done that. But because he couldn't internalize her telling him, "No, I don't want to come back," and he not dealing with why she didn't want to come back because he was physically abusive to him. He said to her, the last thing he said to her was, "I will make you sorry for the rest of your life." And she wasn't connecting the dots until she found out what he did, and they were on, Montel Williams and all of that. She was talking about it, but that's what happens, unfortunately, sometimes when you hear a lot of these cases. People just don't possess the coping skills to say, all right, while I don't want to be without you, that's the way it's got to be.
Yeah. You bring up a good point with dealing with coping skills, male or female, but we're talking specifically about males. It amazes me how the white male will kill themselves if they make less than $100,000. Remember when the economy dropped and stuff, and all those people were committing suicide?
About the Great Depression, stock market crash, 1929.
Like that, and even fairly recently, there were some people, doing, because like you said, coping skills that they could not fathom being poor or being a middle class. I don't know what it is, but like you said, they didn't have the coping skills. So it isn't just a black thing; it's just people in general. And I don't even think that they even teach that in school anymore in regards to coping.
Well, because those things should be taught at home, but unfortunately, a lot of parents don't have coping skills or I know how to teach it. Like for example, I have a few great nieces and nephews. Mm-hmm. So one of my nieces. And it's just, we kind of talked about this the other day, these little babies and these kids, they cannot function without tablets or a phone in front of them. Like there's just no way, right? So every time you call, she's, do FaceTime now, she's on a tablet and, it's not her fault, but she doesn't want to think of anything outside of the tablet. So one day.
Right, attention span.
Yeah, my daughter called to talk to her, and her father, answered the phone, and he took the tablet from her because she didn't want to interact on the phone, and she just went bananas. Yeah. And so I told him, I said, listen, you're doing the right thing. I said, I know it's hard to hear her cry now. I said, but what your child and a lot of other kids, not just her, have developed is an addiction. Mm-hmm. That is an addiction. And
which they call attention deficit disorder. They make up these
right. names. But because that's what you guys have been using, not to help her cope, but to help you cope. So she's developed an addiction. And I said, if I were you, I wouldn't give it to her all day. I would give it to her at a point where she knows, okay, this time of day, it's tablet time for 30 minutes, and then I go do something else. I said, but what you got right there is, I said, that is what addiction looks like when you need to wean somebody. And so he took it from her, and he explained it to her. She, and then like that, she found something else to do.
Right. Well, remember back in our day, in the Stone Age, at least in my day, the Stone Age, not you, because you just graduated a couple years ago. The addiction, what they would give us is the book. They'd say, go read a book. You'd be somewhere, your parents are like, they want you to have a book in your hand, Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn. And then, I used to hate it because I had to tell my mom what I read.
We did too. Book report.
To learn if we're comprehending what we're reading. Mm-hmm. And, we just, our parents didn't, I know times have changed, but nothing's new under the sun. Nothing's new under the sun.
Right.
And when you give them these tablets, you're actually not giving them the mechanisms that they